All right. Number 9 says the author of passage 2 would most likely criticize the author of passage 1 for. Well, let's recap the main ideas from passage 1 and passage 2. Um, I think passage 1 is basically saying, right, that the even though a lot of people say that the earth is overcrowded, um, there's actually a lot of empty space in the earth, right? So it says each person would have an area equal to the floor space of a typical US home, right? Um, and that's if we were all put into the land area of Texas, right? So he's making the point that people are saying that it's overcrowded, but we actually have a lot of space left, right? Now, passage 2 is saying that the idea that the number of people per square mile is a key determinant of population pressure is as widespread as it is wrong. So that's basically what passage 1 is doing, right? He's putting people per square mile and saying, oh, it's not that crowded, right? But passage 2 is saying doing it that way is wrong, right? Because, why is it wrong? Because most of the empty land in the United States, for example, either grows the food essential to our well-being or supplies us with raw materials, right? So that extra land, we need that. It's not like we can fill every square mile with people, right? Because we need some land to be able to make our food and give us raw materials, right? So I would probably say that passage 2 would say passage 1 is not looking at the right data, right? When making a conclusion on the problem, right? So he's looking strictly at how much land we have versus how many people we have, whereas he should be looking like and considering natural resources and other stuff that we need to fill the land with. All right, so let's look at A. A says using incorrect data to support a flawed conclusion. Close. This is close, but I wouldn't say that passage 1 is using incorrect data, right? Because he's basically using the right number of people. He's using the right number of square miles, right? He's just kind of using the data incorrectly, right? But the data itself is not incorrect, right? So I don't like A for that reason. B, severely overstating the extent of a global problem. Well, passage 1 is actually not overstating, right? Passage 1 is trying to understate. He's trying to say people think this is a huge problem, but it's really not, right? That's what passage 1 is saying, and so that's not overstating the problem. So C, recommending a course of action that might have damaging effects. Well, first of all, I don't think passage 1 is recommending action. He's just kind of refuting a common like argument, right? That's what passage 1 is trying to do. He's saying people usually say it's overcrowded, but it's really not that overcrowded. So I don't think C is right. D, focusing on the wrong factor in considering an issue. I kind of like this one, right? Because remember in A, I was saying he's using the data incorrectly. He's not necessarily it's not necessarily that the data itself is incorrect, right? So that's kind of like focusing on the wrong factor, right? He's using the data, he's twisting the data in considering an issue. Absolutely. I think that one so far is the best one. Let's look at E. Allowing personal prejudice to interfere with scientific inquiry. Well, passage 1, I don't think he's like doing something personal, right? That's not quite what's happening. Like, that's not what's affecting his decision, right? He's just looking at the data incorrectly. That's it, right? It has nothing to do with his personal opinion. So for that reason, I think right now D is your best answer, focusing on the wrong factor and considering an issue.